Let's take you back now to our main story here this morning. And the death of Mark Duggan sparked the worst riots in this country in a generation, starting in Tottenham and spreading to other English cities.
Yesterday's verdict by an inquest jury prompted an angry reaction both inside and outside the court. We can talk now to Assistant Commissioner Mark Rowley of the Metropolitan Police at Scotland Yard for us. Very good morning to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Good morning.
I just wonder first, you witnessed firsthand the anger and the confusion of many of the Duggan family and their supporters yesterday. What is your message to them today as they try to come to grips with a ruling by the jury they simply don't understand?
A couple of points I make. I think firstly, there was a lot of upset and anger from the family and their friends, and I think anybody can understand that. They've lost a loved one, and regardless of the circumstances, that's awful for anyone, and they obviously wanted a different verdict. I've said already that the police, we would never start an operation with an intent anything else other than arresting people, bringing them to justice, seizing weapons. We don't set out to any operation that results in someone's death, so it is very tragic. But 10 ordinary men and women from London, and that's what the jury is, 10 ordinary men and women, they concluded that it was lawful killing. They concluded that Mark Duggan was carrying a weapon in the car. He got out the car with the weapon, and in the split seconds that followed, he threw the weapon and was shot. They concluded it was lawful. I think it's now time to look forward, and the Commissioner this morning, I think as you're aware, he's got 2 meetings with different groups of community leaders, and we want to look at, we think relations in community aren't in the state that that some commentators have said. We think things are stronger than they were in 2011, but we do know there's a lot more to do, and the Commissioner wants to hear other ideas and thoughts community leaders have got.
As you say, the jury concluded the killing was lawful.
Yes.
But they also concluded that Mark Duggan was not holding a weapon when he was killed. Now, if you concentrate on that specific part, which is one of the most challenging things for the family to understand, that specifically remains a fact. It'll presumably be an uncomfortable truth for the police, notwithstanding the jury's overall decision. But the fact that he was unarmed when he was shot.
I don't sort of accept that statement. Clearly, the jury decided there were, in the split seconds, as Mark Duggan gets out the car, throws the weapon, is confronted by the police, and the shots are fired. They're split-second decisions made by police officers. The way you describe it makes it almost sound as if minutes transpired.
No, I've not convoluted anything there. You quoted me the jury's decision-making process, and they also made the decision based on the evidence they heard that he was unarmed when he was shot. I mean, you can't challenge that. That is what they concluded.
I agree with you. He'd just thrown a weapon away. The officer was confronting him, and the jury accepted that the officer had an honest and reasonable belief that he had to fire the shots. Now, it's very, very tragic that he's dead. No one sets out to kill somebody, but the jury's concluded that it was lawful. I think that's difficult. The fact that, as you say, though, of course, the fact that he was just throwing the weapon away just before he was shot, that does make it more complex, and I think that does make it harder for the family to understand that. But we have a verdict that is lawful killing. 3,000 times a year, firearms officers in London are going out protecting the people of London, drawing weapons many times a day. We have 50 people shot over the last three years or so in London, and we're driving down gun crime by arresting dangerous people and taking weapons off the street. We need to continue that. We'll be professional and careful. We only fire shots once or twice a year despite those thousands of operations.
Can I ask you about looking forward? We've spoke to the pastor who's in contact with the family now. They're saying they want a judicial review into what happened. Is that something the police would welcome?
The legal process has concluded. An inquest is the way in British law a sort of judgment is cast upon how somebody died. Clearly there are ways that the family could appeal or challenge that, and that's up for them and their lawyers. Then the important thing today is we look forward. We want Londoners to have faith that firearms officers, as the jury had faith, are doing their best to protect Londoners from gun crime, and we want to work with community leaders given the tension and upset this event causes.
Well, the reason I'll dwell on that one, if I may, I mean, the family, this is clearly very important for them, and they feel that there are unanswered questions. One way of achieving that And presumably, in the interest of police and the community relations and working this out, and I know you've offered to meet the family, would be to say that you would welcome a judicial review to answer the questions they feel have not been asked so far. Your answers seem to imply that you don't think that's necessary.
The legal process has concluded. A coroner's court, a jury's come to a verdict. Now, of course, there's always higher courts people can appeal that to, and that's their decision. I don't think that's necessary. I think we now need to look forward and work with communities how we can strengthen things further, building on the work we've done over the last 2 years to reduce the amount of stop and search, strengthen community relationships with young people. But there's lots more we want to do, and we want to focus on that.
Mark Rowley, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you very
Mark
much,
Rowley
Charlie.
is Metropolitan Police Assistant Commissioner.
It is just coming up to 9:20.